Hello again, and welcome back to the Bonus Level Podcast. This is level 45. I'm Jack, and of course, this week, Josh and Luch, and then a very special guest who is returning for the second time, Josh's brother Jake. Say hello, Jake.
What's up?
Thanks for coming back. This week, we have a very intriguing topic and something that I won't lie, I didn't really know anything about until very recently. Today, in fact. Not that I didn't know anything about it. I just didn't know it was a real thing. And it actually works out really well to have Jake on the show today because Jake, why don't you, I don't think probably most of the people listening will remember or know what you do for a living.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm an international teacher. So I've been living in Korea for the last year and a half, which is obviously not China. But I do have quite a few friends living in China currently, and I'm getting some job offers that are looking pretty good coming from China. I think there's a little bit of money there.
Okay. So with that being said, that kind of leads us into the topic. So this week's topic is going to be the Chinese social credit system, which is super interesting and kind of creepy and very intriguing. Luch, actually, you were the one that brought the topic up. You may know a little bit more than the rest of us, being that we just kind of dove into it. We know the concept because of things like Black Mirror. There was a Black Mirror episode that's very similar to this concept. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the overview of what's going on over there?
So from what I know, the Chinese social credit system is pretty much exactly like if anybody has seen that Black Mirror episode where they rate civilians. So it's similar to a normal credit score, except instead of it just being for your financial or business needs, it rates everything. So it rates from how good of a person you are to how bad of a person you are. I mean, anything from how many video games you play a night. Like if you're constantly playing video games for hours, that hurts your score negatively. And they track it all. I mean, they got cameras around cities. They, monitor what you use on the internet, what you buy. If you drink too much, they hit your score negatively. All kinds of stuff. But then it's, on the opposite spectrum. If you're helping a lady walk across the street and the cameras catch that, then you get a positive score. And these kind of things can, affect you negatively or positively, like getting discounts at stores. If you're positive, to not being allowed to buy airplane tickets if you have bad credit. It's pretty crazy stuff.
It is. It's like it's crazy. It actually is a little scary when you think about it. So just some statistics as far as the system. So China actually has almost 50% of the world's population of surveillance cameras. Think about that for a second. I think the number is 200 million or something. I don't know that stat specifically. It's somewhere around 200 million cameras. But the overall stat is out of the entire number of in-use surveillance cameras that are being recorded and fed, China has almost 50% of them. One country. That's nuts. And those cameras are scanning everything at all times, right? So they can see you, they can see the car, license plate, they can pick you up, facial recognition, and then they spot what you do and track what you do. And like Luch was saying, simple things like not slowing down to let somebody cross a street, right? And they see that, they see your car that tags your plate. And all of these things go from, that obviously affect your score, but can literally cause it so that you can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. You can't get jobs, loans. Like he said, you can't travel. You can't buy bus tickets, plane tickets. It's actually insane. And I think that, and Jake, maybe you can jump in here. China is still considered 100% communist, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Though
right. So it's
they,
a communist
they
country.
don't like to consider themselves that, but in every way, it is still a communist state.
Okay. So the funny thing about this whole system is the people that have good scores don't care, right? They like it because it allows them a lot of privileges, a lot of perks of being a model citizen. And they say it encourages you to be a good citizen. So I think that that's going to be kind of the debate that we have, right? We're going to talk about not just the system itself, but also the pros and cons of something like that. And because of the cons, should something like that completely be wiped out? But Luch, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this system was created solely by the Communist Party in China. This was created so that the common, everyday, good-natured citizen would not be hindered by the bad people of society.
Which, in concept, seems kind of positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a good thing in general. Which I mean, everybody, I'm sure this is how they got everybody on board. They pitch it like that, you talk about it like that in that light, and now all of a sudden it seems like a good thing, and not, Big Brother watching you every single thing that you do, every move that you make, game that you play, movie that you watch, thing that you search online, like all of that stuff. You have a profile, and we here in America, right? We have things like that, and we always talk about it. Facebook watching, ad placement, all of this stuff. But this is a whole nother level, right? Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is really important because, like you said, United States is already doing a little bit of it, but we actually are planning to do more. So is United Kingdom, so is Germany. They're all planning on implementing something that's actually very similar to what China's doing. That'll probably be years after and probably with a lot more testing. But yeah, this is something that will really affect the US.
So it's I heard, or I guess I read, or whatever, statistically they're saying something like this worldwide in like 15 to 20 years. Is that the time frame that you heard?
No, I didn't see a time frame. So
okay. Yeah, that's what I heard. 15 to 20 years. That's not that far from now. Luch, go ahead.
I mean, I could feel it probably becoming a larger issue because America, definitely the United States, has big, privacy laws. I think the United States will probably fight that out of most countries. The most, I feel like.
I don't know if I agree with you on that, though.
You don't think so?
No, I think the United States is run by big corporation, right? Money-making corporations, and those are the ones that will push for that. Josh, go ahead.
I think that you're going to have a little bit of both, where you're going to have the people that push back against it, but then at the same time, what was that old person app that just went viral, like a month or two ago, where everyone took a picture of themselves and they looked old?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing, everyone decided to do it and gave away all their permissions and stuff for free.
Yeah.
Just because they wanted
get
a picture.
Yeah.
So if all they did was they said, I want to implement this program, and there's some kind of reward, you get 1,000 rating and, $5,000 back on taxes. People will be signing up left and right. Or, maybe you don't even get that. Maybe you get a new special color Facebook page. And no,
you're right.
These kind of little tricks can just suck people in.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that's exactly why I don't think the United States is really, I don't think you're going to see that much of pushback. I mean, you'll see the conservative people kind of pushing back because, people like my parents' generation, they don't even believe on be even ordering things online with a credit card, right? Like they won't even put their credit card online because they're like, the government's going to steal my identity. It's like nobody cares about your 800 credit score. Like, I mean, maybe eventually if you have a lot of money in the bank, somebody's going to try to scam you out of it. But in general, right, most people, it doesn't matter. Like if the government wants to know something about you, they're going to know it. They're going to find it out, right? Like it doesn't ultimately matter. So I don't really think that you're going to see that much of a pushback with this kind of thing being implemented in the next, 10, 15 years. I really don't think so. I mean, like Jake said, we're already headed that direction. We're already going there. We already see it in a lot of different ways. We talk about all the time. I'm a big proponent for, the ad placement and, that the phone and the listening device, your microphone, like constantly listening to what you're saying and doing, and then giving you stuff based on that, right? Like it's very, very, it's targeted. All of that targeted ads are already there. And this would be another step, but it's almost an incentive, right? If we take a look at it and we think of it in a good, positive way of like, oh, well, this can help me do this, and this can help me get a loan, and this can help me, get a better job. I mean, yeah, of course people are going to jump onto it. Josh, what do you want to add?
Yeah, that I feel like a lot of the pushback on it is going to be done almost like it is now. We're going to have some people that are like, I deleted my Facebook page. You're going to have other groups of people that start a podcast and talk about it and say, hey, this is an invasion of our privacy. But at the same time, I think it's going to be implemented whether people that don't want it to be,
Oh, for sure. Well, it's because it's an overwhelming majority.
Yeah.
There's an overwhelming majority of people that are just going to be the general consumer and just fall in line because of whatever perk that they can get. It's like if Walmart says, you got to come give us your social security and don't ask why. But in turn, you can shop here and spend $100 for free. And people were like, $100? All I got to do is write down my social?
Yeah.
Sure. That's the general mindset of the population. So anyway, so let's go back let's talk about the actual system itself, right? So for anybody that doesn't know, like I said, I was kind of in the dark only in concept that I know about it, right? Only kind of heard the idea, didn't know it was actually implemented. Thought it was kind of like a concept idea that people wanted, governments and countries wanted to implement, but didn't know it was actually going on. It's pretty crazy. So the system itself, it rates you from, I think the lowest is 300.
Something like 300 or 350.
Yeah, and the highest is 1,000.
Which is, but yeah,
no, it's like 1,000.
No, yeah, you start
1,050 or something funny.
No, you start out at 1,000 points.
350 to 950.
Get wrecked.
Then you can start it over 950 because I 100% read that when you get it, you start out at 1,000.
950 is kind of like a video game it's a soft cap. So 950 is the highest, and then you can get extra bonus points.
Okay, so 350 to 950 is the scale. You start out at the max. I guess sometimes you can start out at higher. And just to give you an idea of what affects it. So we talked a little bit about it, but everything that you do on a daily basis, not just financially, but morally. So the way society views you, what you do in your community, how you live your life affects your social credit score. And it automatically is deducted or added based on what you do. There is a lot of propaganda and ad campaigns, nightly news about the daily offenses and exclamations, right? It's very, very propped up to be almost like it's like Twilight Zone, almost like everybody has this number that's attached to them based on what they do for literally everything. And then you have further, not only are 200 million cameras watching you, but then you have people that are paid, almost like paid auditors, that will watch and observe and report monthly based on what he or she sees you do. Right? So you're in a road rage incident and you flick off the guy next to you, your score's going down, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that guy's score is going down for driving, but yours is for retaliating as well. So across the board, your score is going up or down based on what you do. And one step further, they actually tell you things that you can do to boost your score. They actually are transparent about the ways that you can get more points doing good things, right?
Yeah, that was something that was a little bit confusing to me because on the video that I watched, I think by NBC, when they covered it, they talked about that there weren't really clear set rules. But then also in different parts of the video, it said that you can get a printout of your report telling what you did wrong. You can also see reports of things you could do to improve your score. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of like our credit system now. I don't understand much of anything about it. I know that carrying debt is generally bad. Paying it off is good. But other than that, I have no idea when I make a credit card payment, how much that helps my score. like by any
Well, that's what I'm
margin.
saying. They actually showed postings around the town of like billboards of
Mhm.
what you could do to like get points. Jake, what did you want to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that well, one of the problems that's already started is with different minority groups. So, for example, the largest minority in China is the Uyghurs. And I actually used to date a girl who's Uyghur from Urumqi in the Xinjiang province. And there's always been huge problems where any political people from that area would be put in jail for random reasons. All this kind of stuff would be happening. Now, what's interesting about the Uyghur is they're Muslim. So, because of their practices of praying and worshiping and stuff like that, is not accepted by the rest of the community, they actually get lower scores because of their religious affiliation and for, praying at a place that, I guess you shouldn't pray or something like that. So people are already being persecuted for personal and religious beliefs, which
I was gonna say, so that seems like that's very. I mean, it's being set up for actual persecution. So your credit score, your social credit score, is taking a hit based on things that actually don't affect whether you're a good or a bad person.
Mhm.
right, which I think that's the whole point of a thing like this is to completely control behavior. And this is already like implemented in a lot of parts of China. I know one of my friends, a lot of his co-teachers are they get tickets in the mail with like a camera from if they jaywalked one night or something like that, and it's legit footage of them walking across the street. And they don't talk to you anything. They just mail you kind of stuff. They're watching like all the time. And I know Korea's in a similar place where there are CCTV cameras everywhere and like in every single classroom. So it's not even just outside; it is everywhere.
Huh. Josh, go ahead.
Yeah. My whole idea on this thing is in concept, it's awesome. There's a lot of cool things to make people better. I mean, it's weird. It's almost like a video game where you can earn points by doing good things, by helping out a neighbor, by picking up trash, by not littering and driving better. Those are all fantastic things. Where I get I don't know how to put it exactly, but I don't like the part where someone is deciding these are good things to do, these are bad things to do. Um, for one, if you've listened to any of our podcasts, you know that I like to say quote unquote bad words.
Okay.
Because of that, I don't feel like that makes me a bad person. And to be able, like, it showed on there that by using certain language, making sounds with my mouth, I could be banned from flying on an airplane or getting a bus ticket or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. It's from making a sound.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing is what drives me a little bit crazy with this.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. We're going to switch gears here in a second, and talk about just exactly that. So the pros and cons of it and what makes it good or bad. Luch, go ahead. What's your 2 cents?
So what I was going to say real quick, Josh, on that statement, I'm not defending this system at all, but you're not going to completely ruin your credit score by saying bad words. So I'm sure there's a level of like intricacy when it comes to this type of system, but you have to be blacklisted in order to get the biggest punishments. Mm-hmm. So that's by doing almost criminal activities to not be able to get like airplane tickets or.
I don't think that's absolutely, that's 100% though. Just like, because it's what Jake was saying, you're seeing persecution and stuff like that happening for religious beliefs. The one example that was in that video that we watched about this topic was the man who was sued by a client and when he owned a business, and because he didn't want to pay, I guess it was a wrongful suit or something like that, and because he didn't want to pay to end the lawsuit, they actually blacklist. They put him on the blacklist, and now he can't buy plane tickets or train tickets or get a loan or start another business. Like
correct, and that,
he's
but
just
that's what I'm
toasted.
saying though. Like that's a pretty serious accusation though that was put against him. Like he didn't say fuck, and he got hit for it.
Yeah, but that falls under the wrongfully accused and persecuted, and we just decide that what you did was wrong enough, so here you're on the blacklist.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm just saying from Josh, Josh, if you say 1,200 curse words, you're not going to lower down a point from that. You also have to be caught saying those words as well.
Well, and just as a quick response to Luch, like I think of this as like this month, Jack is going to be throwing one of his infamous Halloween parties.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go through that day, he's going to go to the store and probably purchase some junk food, probably purchase a lot of alcohol, both of those bad on your social credit score. He's going to take them home. People are going to come over to his house. Probably going to be noisy pretty late. So what if his neighbor is one of these social
Auditors.
watchers?
Mm-hmm.
So now he's already gotten 2 checks against him for the alcohol and the junk food. Then his neighbor is like, oh, they're staying up late. They're making noise. So now they're getting checks on that. I'm going to call the cops on them. So the cops come. Now a report's been made against Jack, and he has that on him, and he loses 100 points overnight for trying to have a group of friends over on a holiday.
Yeah. We are gonna, I do want to go back to that, Josh, because I do have scenarios where I want to like kind of bounce back and forth of what the ramifications could be. But Jake, go ahead real quick.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna, I guess, segue into what you were saying, where there's not like a justice system for this. There's not like, I mean, we have to go to court when there's even like a minor incidents because of how confusing and convoluted life can be. And so if Josh is walking down the stairs and he stubs his toe and he goes to yell a cuss word just as somebody's walking by, to an onlooker it may look like he's yelling at that person. And there's just too many scenarios that could look way worse, and then there's no way to fact check or back this up, because even like with video and pictures, it's not clear.
Yeah, it's not black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I 100% agree, because that's kind of like I said, I do want to get into that in a little bit and talk about different scenarios and how that could be misconstrued, or how it would actually work with something like this. But just going back to the concept of this system being a good concept, I think for me personally, and we can kind of go around and see where everybody stands, but I think that in theory it sounds good for about 3.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe 5. And then as it goes on, you realize how messed up it actually is in the way of controlling the population. Mm-hmm. Like it's a system designed to say, okay, this is the way we want you to think, eat, live, and whatever, work. This is the way we want you to be. You're going to be a nation of robots. Everybody should be the same. And then you end up getting into the Black Mirror society. Do you remember the movie The Island with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
You guys remember that movie where everybody wore white? The boys were separated from the girls. Mm-hmm. They had leisure activity. Everything was rated. Like it's... I mean, even Equilibrium, right? Like where they completely take away feeling, right? You can't feel. If you feel, you're in violation. No art, no music. V for Vendetta is the same way. This this communist regime of taking away all emotion or self-expression. Everybody has the same haircut, wears the same uniform. Is so communist in nature, that at the very, very core of it, it's evil. And then it's shelled and surrounded by this nice, frilly outer layer of, oh, well, it's going to help everybody be better people, right? We're going to be better people. It's going to make us do good things, and it's going to make us do the right thing. I'll be the first one to say that if you're doing something to get a better score, it's not a good thing that you're doing because you're not doing it for the right reason. If I say, oh, I'm going to help that lady off across the street because that's going to get me 10 points on my score, you don't care about the lady and her getting across the street safely. You're doing it because you know that the camera's watching and you're going to get points, right?
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, there's no reason to do good. So at the very, very core of, oh, it's going to make us do good as a society, that's incorrect and false. It's a fallacy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of.
Sort of. Uh-oh. What? Go ahead.
Well, I was just with your whole reasoning. I mean, I think about like giving to charities and things like that. I mean, usually there's some sort of incentive, or you'll have your name on somebody's Christmas tree because you donated to the orphanage and things like that. But there is part of like building in good habits that can go on. Now, I completely agree that like, yes, for the most part, but to say that it's a complete lie that if every single day you have to be a little bit more conscious when you drive, you will become a better driver, undoubtedly. So where I completely agree,
but better that's performance based. That's basing a better driver. I'm not talking about like better performance. I mean more of like behavior for the sake of being a better person and not because it's giving you points.
Well, then that's again just completely subjective. But I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing that it's not all good. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean you're back to square zero. Like you can build up good habits and you can find like, oh, you know what? Actually helping this lady cross the street made me feel a little bit better. Maybe I will do that again, sort of thing. I think there's some of that too.
No, I mean, and I think that you're right in the way of like, it's, you know, there can be those people that are like, oh, well, you know, this is good. I am helping people, and the charity is giving you. There are benefits of doing those things, but what I'm saying, and I don't think we're on different pages there, is that if it's a majority of the other way, where it's actually not genuine, then I don't really see it as an improvement, because those people that are helping and giving to charity anonymously or just because it's a good right thing to do, they're going to do that anyway, with or without that system. And so I don't really see it as a big enough benefit to all of the cons. And we'll kind of get back to that. Josh, you wanted to speak there.
Yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
What I was thinking about when you were talking about that is, I think we've discussed this before, where you have that self-righteous person that posts a picture of them helping somebody on Facebook or any social media, and you automatically think, all right, this person's a douche, because you know they're only doing it to get the glory. But then at the same time, if they are giving food to some homeless person, like that's still good that homeless person got food. Or if they cleaned up a street and picked up all the trash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there still can be good results from it. Yes.
So that's
I don't disagree.
Where I think some of the concept of it, that little portion, I like a lot.
But that's still the flowery outer shell.
Yes.
That's the silver lining of all the BS. Luch, what were you going to throw in there? Luch? He was going to throw something in.
Sorry. So going back to what Jake was saying, so I agree with both you and Jack to a certain extent, but that's also like, what if it gets involved into like the justice system? I mean, like, you know, you can have a sociopathic or psychopathic killer who can easily manipulate the social system to kind of put a camouflage on himself in society. I mean, you know, if he's helping old lady cross the street and is a model citizen throughout the day, but then is able to avoid the systems and murder people at night with minimal evidence regarding to it's him. I mean,
well, if he does that, then he's Batman, because with 200 million cameras, I don't really know how that's.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, though, man. You never know. Like, it's one of those things. It also, like, you know, cameras aren't all knowing. You can find weak points in cameras.
Yeah, no. I agree with you. I think that it definitely is it's a system that is ripe for manipulation and bribery and all sorts of just bad stuff. I mean, like I said, in the first half hour that we talked about it, we've already talked about all kinds of bad things. Jake's already brought up, religious persecution affecting credit scores. I mean, I'm struggling to find the benefits, right?
Mhm.
I'm struggling to find the actual good past the first, like I said, 3 seconds of theory for the concept itself. So let me ask you this, Josh. So based on your lifestyle right now,
Yes.
right, things that you do, and now what we know about this credit system, where do you think your score would be?
So I've wondered this, and I don't know if you lose points for shopping at Hot Topic, because if you do, I'd probably have a 300. Other
Okay,
than that,
it can't be.
I think I do.
It can't be
pretty good.
lower than 350. So
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm saying, like, I do a lot of good stuff, but then at the same time, I like to blast heavy metal music in my car. I like to say bad words. I like to buy alcohol on occasion.
Mhm.
I feel like I would be a solid 550.
Okay, Jake, do you think that's accurate?
That Josh, is there
Would be-
negative scores?
I don't think you can go lower than
Yeah.
350.
I don't know. Does it go off of things that you've done in the past?
Yeah, well, I think it's a social credit score that you like you said. Say we were all given a social credit score of 1,000 when we turned 18, right?
Mhm.
And now where we are, late 20s, 30s, whatever. Where would we be from there? So keeping in mind, it can go up and down.
Yeah, I'd be sitting at 350. I'd still be paying for debts that I had in the past.
Well, one thing that I was going to ask, which sort of has to do with this, is like, how, I guess on Twitter now, there's a lot of people that are getting flack for things that they did like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
How does that, affect this system? If somebody comes out, they said something racist or something against the government, if it's coming from China, then it could totally tank, even though it's like, I'm not even the same person anymore. So yeah, that could really affect.
I think
somebody's score
that 100% would be a thing. That's why somebody like Kevin Hart will actually resign from doing the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever. What I think was the Oscars, hosting the Oscars, because if something comes out. That's why James Gunn will get fired from Guardians of the Galaxy because of 10 year ago, tweets from 10 years ago. People can be offended and they can find offense at anything. And yeah, of course, to drag things up on purpose to tear you down whenever you're doing well, because they don't want you to do well.
Yeah.
Right. So 100%, I think that would be a real issue. I mean, for me, I think, I would be right around you, Josh. I think it'd be right around 500-600. I don't know that I'd be able to get the perks of getting a free rent a bicycle without paying a deposit, or getting a discount
the crazy thing. Anyone that knows
at the
us,
store.
I think
wouldn't
we're
think that.
decent people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the score that we
judging
would
from
give
this,
ourselves.
Judging from the system, though, like, okay, so I'm going to transition into examples, right? Because I have a today example.
Were you naughty today?
Well, no, see, that's the thing, right? Like, I want to present this. If this was like a court of the credit system, social credit system, you can tell me whether my score goes down, up, or stays the same.
I love
based
this
on
game.
this example. All right. So here I was today working. I was headed back from work, driving around, coming up my street, and the street that turns, like the main highway part that turns off onto my residential street, it's only a 1-lane highway with a center lane, a center turning lane in the middle, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm coming up the street. Speed limit's 45. I'm probably doing 45, 50 maybe, minus 1 point for speeding. So I'm coming up the street, and there's a guy behind me that's tailgating me. Like he's super close. Like I mean, like just on my bumper. And you guys know me and my orneriness, sarcasticness, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're tailgating me and I'm going already the speed limit or faster, I'm not going to then go faster. I'm then going to slow down, right? I'm going to slow down so that you're made to wait even longer
That's the
because
normal
now you're going to be
reaction.
correct. So then we're traveling. He's tailgating me, and then I'm coming up to getting close to where I would turn into the center turning lane to turn left, right? Because I turn left onto my street. And before I can do that, this guy starts to go over to go past me and to turn onto my street, right? Like he starts to merge into the turning lane in the middle before I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? If you pass me, I'm going to miss my turn because we're like almost there. So then I get over in front of him, like, and I put my arm up, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to go around me when I have my turn signal on?
Yeah.
And so he's still on my bumper. We both turn. And now we turn onto my residential street. Now, it is a residential one-way street. Well, it's two ways, but it's a one lane. So it's very, very tight, but cars can go both directions. Residential, I mean, yards up to the street, mailboxes on the street, right? It's a 25 mile an hour street. Like, and that even going 25 is fast. Like, you should be going slower than that. There's kids, dogs, like people. You should just be going slow. So I turn down on my street, and my house is about a quarter mile down on the right. And immediately he's right on my bumper again. Like I'm like right on my bumper. So I have my hands up. I'm pointing at the speed limit sign. It's right there. As soon as you turn, I point over like it's 25 miles an hour. This guy tries to go around me on my street. So what did I do? I moved into the middle of the road and blocked him. So now I'm going even slower than 25.
Yeah.
And now I'm really angry because not only is this guy trying to go past me on my residential street, but he's trying to go faster than the speed limit, which is, people speed up and down here all the time. It makes me so angry because somebody's going to get killed and it's going to happen in front of my house. So he tries to then swerve and go around me to the right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped the car in the road.
Yes.
On my street. So I pulled sideways to block him, stopped the car in the road, and I put my my car into gear, and then, or I put it into neutral, and then pumped the emergency brake so I could get out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now keep in mind, I'm right in front of my house at this point. I get out and I let him have it.
Yeah.
Like curse words, all like I was just effing 25 miles an hour. Like, what the F is wrong with you? Blah 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 blah. He sped out around me, went into somebody's yard, and sped around me down the road.
Were you waving the Glock?
No, I did not get it out. That would have been very bad, and I would have been arrested and score went down. So
Credit score would have been very bad.
So my question is, does my score go down, stay the same, or up for confronting the man that was doing wrong? What did the judges decide?
Depends on the onlooker's view.
Yeah.
Well,
What if
you're
he
the
was
onlooker?
auditor?
You're the onlooker. You see, there's CC camera that sees from the
Yeah.
turn.
Are we
from
neighbor
the turn?
or traffic cam?
All right. Hold on. Luch is a traffic cam, and Jake and Josh, you're neighbors, and you see the whole thing. Luch, you're the traffic cam. You see from the turn. You see him right behind me at the turn, and then the CCTV down the street.
So I mean, if looking from that point of view, like if the guy was tailing you from behind, both of you would have got a strike.
Both of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So explain your reasoning.
So if I was a civilian onlooker traffic camera, so he was riding your ass, which was bad. Shouldn't have done that. However, you retaliated, in which case, you were also disrupting the neighborhood. Thankfully, you didn't pull out a gun. And then you were also screaming and yelling in the middle of the road. I'm pretty sure there was no one else in the road, right?
No, yeah, there's no other cars coming.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was holding up traffic.
But
I was holding him up.
have caused a traffic halt. So, I mean,
Sure.
Again, but I'm not saying this as Luch. I'm saying this as
No, absolutely.
Onlooker
You're
traffic
the traffic cam. Yeah, you're traffic cam. You're determining whether I get a notice in the mail.
But I could be that traffic cam where I'm at the right angle to where I actually don't even see his car. I just see you acting all crazy, getting out of the car and yelling.
You never see his car at all. It just looks like I'm swerving in front of this guy. Look at this man. He's crazy. And that's the video that goes up on Twitter and I get tagged and then my score goes down even more.
Dude, and I'm sorry, real quick, guys, real quick. I forgot to mention that from the thing. Also, how the Chinese system works, they have video feedback and playbacks of that week's moments. Whether
I said that. Yeah,
did you?
On the news. Yeah, on the news.
Sorry,
it's crazy.
I was like, that would be Jack though. He would be the one.
Yeah, 100% on the news. On the news that night. Yeah. Absolutely.
But all right, so you Photoshop like a grandmother in the car that you were yelling at.
Yeah, probably.
And then it's just like, oh my gosh, this poor lady was just running for her life.
Yeah, it looks like she's trying to get away, and I'm like, they Adobe After Effects a gun in my hand,
yeah,
like exactly. Waving it around.
It's actually a school bus he's yelling at.
Okay, all right. So the CCTV decides that I am also in violation. So what do my neighbors decide that are out working in their yards and see the whole thing?
Yeah, I would say both, because as much as he was being a jerk for telling you and things and speeding, escalating the situation and stopping in the middle of a road has the potential of causing even more risk. Because you said he just drove through somebody's yard and all this other stuff, and people do very irrational things when they get angry. So from my point of view, I would say that was wrong to stop there. And that was wrong for, obviously, him to do that. So, I mean, just negative points all around.
Okay. So you're my neighbor down the street. You're more cynical. You're saying I get more points. Okay. I get points deducted. Josh, what about you?
I'd want to say that I would want to commend you as a vigilante.
I'm trying to clean up the neighborhood. Can't you see? There's people speeding up and down the street.
Speaking realistically, well, that's one of the crazy things to me was when watching the video that this lady had a notebook and was writing notes in it. Like, so it's not even like you have to have picture evidence, video evidence, which
no, somebody could just say.
No, I mean that's what we've discussed 100 times on this podcast. Like how much fake shit is on the internet. Yeah. Like videos can 100% be faked. Pictures super easy to fake, and this lady's just going, "Oh, take my word for it."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I saw this person do this thing.
Yeah.
And she has like a quota of like 10 per month that she has to submit.
Yeah. Oh, I would totally sign up for that. And you guys would be my friends and would save cats out of trees on a daily basis.
They're so good.
They're the most nicest people ever. I watched them pull 10 babies out of burning cars.
Oh, shoot,
it's funny. Ridiculous.
Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think that if you had this system in place, would you have acted differently? If you were driving and
100%.
You had that thought in your mind, like, all right, this guy's being a jerk, but it'll negatively affect me if I retaliate.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Because of the ramifications of what the score means, right? Not so much because I agree, like, oh well, yeah, if I do this, I'm gonna be the bigger person in that moment. Because I 100% believe that people need to be called on their crap. That if you don't do that, you're doing everyone else in the world a disservice because somebody else is going to have the same experience with that person. And even if it's one person that you can stop acting that way, it's worth it. But I 100% would have not done that if I know that it's going to affect whether or not I can get a loan or get a car or travel or, like those kinds of things. Yeah. Of course not. Go ahead, Jake.
So I know that I think we've talked about this before, that we have very different attitudes and just personalities in general. But even more so than that, like culturally, because I know living in Korea, there were so many things that I was doing that they would have thought was completely rude or disrespectful that I had no idea that I was doing. And I'm interested. It's going to be interesting to see how these businesses, and you know how much or how global China's trying to be, how they are going to adapt to all these cultural differences when assessing these companies that are trying to get into our market and things like that.
Right. Of like what's actually good, what's considered rude, what's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah,
Right. Like,
I can see that.
for example, I mean, I know in Korea, like, you know, like if you're standing at an elevator and you're waiting on it, you take a couple steps back because you're going to let them get out, then you'll get in. Not in Korea, it's just like, no, your nose is in the elevator. You don't have to wait for them to get out. You just push through each other, and that's the way to do it. And I look at that, I'm like, oh, come on, have a little respect. But it's just different.
Huh.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is in that situation, they don't find it rude to like push past each other to get in
Exactly.
because that's probably the way things are on like the train, a tram, like places like that because it's so busy. Is that why? So it's just like that's just the way things work.
It's I guess more efficient, or they see it that way. I mean, you even look at the differences here in the States between like New York City and Atlanta. It's like vastly different of what we would consider rude or what we would consider.
Yeah, if somebody did that to me in like a New York City subway station, I'd be like, I would like, you know, you get the stare down. Like, why did you just bump into me? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like even today, this is another one. Like I was going through the drive-through to pick up lunch while I was out, and the lady in front of me, with her big Mercedes, is hand out the window after she orders, hand out the window, smoking a cigarette, not pulled up to the as close as she can get to the car in front. So half of her car is sticking up to the window or into the order microphone. So when I pull up, the lady's like, "Hi, can I take your order?" And I'm like a whole car length back. And so I'm like out the window, like, "Yeah, if you'll hold on a second, when the lady in front of me moves up, I'll come order." Right? Like I say that, and she can hear me. She's got her thing. She doesn't move. She doesn't move. She just has her hand out the window, just smoking her cigarette. And then finally, the car in front of her moves, so she throws her cigarette on the ground and she drives up to the thing. So then I can order, right? Then I can pull up and order. Mm-hmm. So like for her, like I find that 100% like rude, right? Mm-hmm. But what CC camera? What's going to pick that up and go, "Oh, that person is, you know, being a real a-hole. Like we need to dock them points."
Well, let's assume that it does. Would you want her to get punished for an action like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. She was a word that I'm not going to say on this podcast because I'm going to lose points.
So therefore, you kind of like the system?
No, absolutely not. You know why? Because I wanted to cuss her out.
Okay. So if it was your system,
it was my system.
Yeah. No, what if you made the rules for the system?
No, absolutely not. No, there's no positive rule set here.
Okay,
there's no system that works.
Here's kind of my question that I have going forward. I'd like a report from each of you guys whether or not, if we could implement this program here in the United States, if you would be for it or against it. Starting with Jake.
Against it.
Jack?
Oh, 100% against it.
Luch?
Against it, 100%. Violates too much privacy.
Okay. So my question is, if...
You didn't say yours, by the way.
I'm against it.
Okay, so we're all against it.
Yes.
All in favor?
But... like, we all kind of said, in concept, it has some interesting, maybe cool ideas. Mm-hmm. If the program were to remove punishments, but you could earn points by doing good deeds that could get you special things, like, you know, some of the examples they were using were no deposits on stuff, or we'd even talked about
on rental bikes,
you know, little things that were incentives to do good. Like right now, the incentives for people to do good are recognition on social media.
Staying out of jail.
Staying
out of jail.
Well, no, because you don't stay out of jail by doing good.
I'm talking about performing actually good deeds like feeding homeless, picking up trash, not littering.
But you're supposed to do those things out of the genuine like kindness of your heart, not for things. If you do them for things, it doesn't count, even
It
though
does
it can
count.
have a good benefit. No, it can have a benefit, but that's not the point.
Okay, but I'm asking this question, so you've already answered. So to Jake and Luch, if there was a program like this that only did rewards for good deeds, no punishments for other things because they could be arbitrary, how would you guys feel about that?
Well, I wouldn't feel. I've never really liked that, and there already is that in place in a lot of companies. I mean, there's a lot of types of moderation in companies that will reward you for going out and doing this sort of stuff, and you can get more time off if you go and volunteer, and we get tax breaks because we donate to Goodwill and things like that. I mean, we already have that sort of in place, and for the most part, it works decently well. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like who gets to decide what is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Luch, what about you? Would you like that or no?
I mean, I agree with Jake. I mean, there's stuff like that already in place, but still, there shouldn't be something out there that dictates how people behave. Like, it's just like, I mean, like, these people are monitoring everything from you, like your internet usage to what you buy. Like, it's just not right. Like, there's a certain amount of privacy everybody should be entitled to, and that I just completely think that defies it.
Yeah, I agree. And coming back around to me, Josh, I don't think it works either if it's only positive rewards and not negative, because it's balance, right? Everything has to have a balance. And if there's a point to be earned, there's a point to be taken away, right? There has to be that back and forth. Otherwise, again, what is the point? Like if there's no punishment, there's no.
Well,
that's why the judicial system was set up. That's why there is crime and punishment. That's why there's consequences to your actions. There always has to be.
Well, the reason that I thought of it this way was I think it's easier to come up with clear definitions as to what is a good deed. Helping an old lady across the street, stopping at a crosswalk to let somebody
come up with what's good and what's bad.
Well, no, what I'm saying, it's easier to say what are good deeds.
Okay.
Whereas saying these are bad, I think more people would disagree on that. Where if you said, hey, don't say bad words, you're going to have 50-50 split between people going, some of them going, yes, I agree with that, and the other half going, no. But if you said a good deed is picking up litter, I think you would have 100% of people going, yeah, I agree. That's a good deed. You know, not pushing someone down, or if someone falls down, helping them up. That's a good deed. Like, I think we could see and define good deeds better than what we can define, the bad stuff. I think people would disagree as far as what we think is bad, especially when you're dealing with generational differences. I mean, to old people, my tattooed, filthy, mouth pierced body, heavy metal stuff, like, I'm a terrible person, though I'm a nice guy,
Yeah.
So that's where I just flat out don't like the punishment side of thing, because I feel like a lot of that is very arbitrary, especially when it comes to playing video games and buying alcohol. Like, that's crazy. But the good deeds, I kind of like a reward system with that. I would like to see more people, even if they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see more trash get picked up and more trees get planted and more old ladies getting helped across the street. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Even if people are gritting their teeth,
Yeah. No, I agree. If it's getting done, it can have a benefit.
Yeah.
Jake, what did you want to throw in there?
Yeah, I don't know that I totally agree with everything Josh was saying, in the sense that we are already following this. We're already doing this. In any company that you've ever worked for, there are certain rules of things that are desirable and undesirable, and if you break enough of them, then you get blacklisted. You get fired from the company. I'm sure when Josh goes and shows a house, he's not cussing like crazy. He's probably not
Yeah.
saying any religious jokes. He's not breaking a lot of these social norms that he's saying that, when he goes out, he probably wears long sleeves and covers a lot of his tattoos. I mean, we already are affected by this social guardian, whatever it is.
That is 100%.
And so now it just has a name. And now it's, I think what Luch has been talking about a lot is it's more the privacy and all the cameras and watching what everybody says and that sort of thing. But and Josh mentioned earlier how we are already with like the Old Person app, we are giving companies and countries all of our information, all of our purchasing habits, all of our travel ideas, our facial recognition, all of our information. Like we give everything away for free no matter what. And so we've already signed up to play this game. And we are, even though it's not as obvious as a score, word will get around if Josh was being disrespectful or rude to clients of his, or things like that. And if he's in the opposite direction, if he's doing a good job, he's going to get more referrals, right? So
I agree.
So all I'm saying is we're already doing this. This is already happening.
Yeah, I would like to have a number though, so I could compete against you guys. I would like to be the best guy.
Well, that's not the case. Yeah, definitely not going to be the case. I did want to mention though. Yeah, you're very competitive. Yeah. I did want to mention. So, like, I actually, what Jake was just saying, experienced firsthand the societal kind of like judgment. Josh, you just mentioned it too with the heavy metal and tattoos and stuff. So I went to the park this evening. I took Zyra to the park and we were walking and, when I'm not working, I wear a lot of black, black Vans, black shorts, black tank top, sunglasses, black hat, I wear a lot of black. That's what I do.
Super cool.
And I was wearing my, my D&D shirt, the Death Saves shirt, which, if you guys aren't familiar, Death Saves is Death Save is a term from Dungeons and Dragons, but it is a apparel and item memorabilia-ish Dungeons and Dragons company created by, I never can pronounce his name, so I'm just going to call him Joe. He is an actor and was supposed to be Deadshot in not Deadshot, Deathstroke. Deathstroke in the DC universe. Anyways, it's his company. It's super awesome. I love their apparel. The tank top that I have is a skull with the word Death Saves all around it. Now, to the general bystander, that can be kind of off-putting, I guess, right? Because you see it, you see the skull, you see the word Death Saves, and me, I was raised very strict Christian, so I immediately think Jesus saves, right? And when you say Death Saves, it's kind of the opposite, right? It's like the opposite of that. And so I get a lot of weird looks and people ask me about it. But today I was walking in the park and I was walking through a particular like bend of undergrowth trees and stuff. And the path kind of went through there. So here I am walking along, walking with Zyra, I'm, big smile on my face, whatever, because I'm having a good time. And this mother and her two kids with the strollers walking towards me the other direction. And I see her see me and I see her take a look at me and I'm coming towards her. And she literally put her other kid that was walking in her stroller, put her in the stroller, and moved to the other side of the path. Yeah. And I was like, "Damn, lady!" It's like, it's not that serious.
Look like such a ruffian, Jack.
I don't understand. I smiled at her on the way by.
Too cool.
And I was just like, "Did I just get profiled?" Because that was really weird.
I always think you're going to walk by and be like, "Hey, I can save your children. Just let me save them."
Doing in her notebook, this creepy guy stalking around with his dog.
Yeah, I felt kind of weird. I mean, I laughed about it, but I almost was like, "Dang, I'm offended. What kind of person do I look like over here?"
Right?
Like I'm just out prowling around.
Well, in the news article that Luch sent us, there was the part. As soon as you started talking about the dog, I thought about this. That it says let's see. where my pet
Your
owners get
neighbor's
points
dog.
deducted if the dog is walked without a leash or causes public disturbances. Those who lost all their points had their dogs confiscated. So like in that situation, if you're out at the park with your dog and now you get a bad report and it's while dog walking, like could you imagine losing Zyra?
Okay, first of all,
Over
why you gotta try to hurt me right now? Like, what is the point of this?
Just this little piece alone
You gonna make me cry? Come on, man.
would be crazy.
Let me just tell you this: that if they try to take if anybody try to take Zyra from me, I'd be on the news for a completely different reason. First of all, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
You'd see me on the nightly news, not for a credit score drop, but for police shootout, because that's where I would be.
Right. But at the same time, we're making a lot of assumptions about that lady in the sense that maybe she, like, just a week before her kid got bit by a dog and she's just terrified. Sure. So, I mean, like, we're over here laughing at her, but we are literally doing the same thing that we're worried that people are going to do to us. And that constant state of fear is, like, the worst existence you can have.
Yeah, I mean, she could have had 3 kids, and some bald guy in a D&D shirt stole one of them last week. And she's like,
why would she be back at the park? Why would she be back at the park with her other 2 kids? Like, isn't that just like an accident waiting to happen? She's like, yeah, last week I had 3. I came to the park, went home with 2.
Like, there's no way
I'll try it again this week.
Another bald guy in a D&D shirt.
There's no way she would have known that I shaved my head, though. I was wearing my black hat.
Oh.
And black sunglasses.
Even more suspicious.
Yeah, exactly. She probably like, it's that same guy again, only with a hat and sunglasses.
Oh my god!
You can't hide. It's that disguise. I see right through it. No, I mean, and not that I guess I see what you're saying, Jake, but I don't feel like I'm judging. I'm not judging her in the same way that. No, I don't know. I feel like she definitely was judging me. But maybe I am.
But I mean, I don't know.
Maybe I am.
I had similar experiences in Korea where, well, especially if I grew my beard out, that grandmothers would like pull their children away from me because it's just not in their culture for people to have beards, and it looks different, and they don't know me, and they can't talk to me, so it's just this sense of distrust. There, like, oh, he must be up to something good or something, something not good.
No good, yeah.
Right. And so there's so much of just appearance that falls into that as well, like how you present yourself, which I think is important anyways. We should always take care of that. But yeah, I don't know.
But the question is though, is that what's societally acceptable, right? Like, who gets to decide? And this has always been my argument with tattoos and piercings and things like that. Who gets to decide what's normal, right? Who decides the societal norm of what a haircut should look like, what what clothing style is appropriate, etc. Like, who actually sets those guidelines? It goes, and then even further, like we were talking about cussing, right? Mm-hmm. The idea that there are certain words that we can't say in public or in conversation because they are deemed inappropriate or swear words is fundamentally idiotic. It literally is idiotic because I was raised to not say shit, but to say shoot. Okay. So tell me what the difference between the made up word shit and the made up word shoot is, when the idea behind what I'm saying when I say either one of them is
identical,
exactly the same.
Yeah. Now, Josh and I actually did get in trouble for saying gosh because it was too close
to God, right? Or geez. I couldn't say geez because it's too close to saying Jesus.
Did you ever try to convince your parents that you're actually saying Josh?
I didn't say gosh, I said Josh.
Say Jeezy Creasy.
But my point is that the intention or the thought behind saying the F word is the same as saying freaking or all of the Christian swear words or the PG ones, right? But the society says nope. There's these 5 words that you can't say because they're inappropriate to say on television and radio, and oh my goodness, that language.
But what about like racial or religious?
Well, then we're not talking about slurs. We're talking about cussing.
Words that are banned, words that are not acceptable. right? Or people like curbing who controls what people can say, or
I mean, personally, I'll lump them all in together because words are all made up and they don't mean anything unless, for the intention behind them, right?
Mhm.
I can call somebody of a different color than me any word that I want with the same mean intention, the same hatred. I don't have to use a specific word that is deemed racially inappropriate.
Correct.
So I would throw them all in together. Now, I understand that that's a little bit more sensitive of a topic, but me personally, I think it's all the same and it's all BS. You choose to be offended by what you're offended by.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me, though.
And
that goes back to the whole, who gets to decide, what's appropriate. 10 years ago, you wouldn't hear the word bitch on the radio in a song. Now you will. What changed?
All of that is
over the past 10 years.
Loosened up tremendously.
Right. But that's my point. It's like, so 10 years ago, no way, no how. Now, sure. 10 years ago, you had to actually have like paid programming to find softcore, shows late night on TV. Now it's on regular cable at 2:00 in the morning. So
yeah, that's what's scary is just thinking 10 years ago, your credit score could be in the dumpster and you do the same exact actions today. And maybe there's a 200-300 point difference between the two.
I mean, we can talk about that kind of thing all night. I mean, think of all the people that are in jail right now for possession of marijuana. And if they would have lived in a different state, they would be free.
Or if you're in that state still and you got arrested before it was,
you're still in jail and it's legal now.
You're still in jail.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we can go around and around and around with those kinds of things.
So if we see this thing coming within the next, what they say, 25 years, approximately
15 to 20 was the timeline that I read.
We all disagree with it.
Yes.
What do we do?
We're leaving the country.
Riot.
To go
to an island in the Bahamas.
China.
I'm already
China.
Yeah, I'm already leaving, man.
You're going to the place.
Well, maybe
you're going there.
There's a chance.
Well, you already said it's like that in Korea anyway.
Speeding up the process.
It's getting there. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's like that.
Just go and jump in. Just dive into it. You'll be fine.
I'll be experienced, and then I'll come back and I'll be prepared of my training.
And then you'll be brainwashed. You'll be like, you'll have that like brain slug, like Futurama, like embrace the system.
Yeah.
Social credit score.
I come back and my credit score just shoots out of the roof. This will be perfect. It's like, how is he so good? I trained in China.
He's got the social credit score like chip implanted into his brain, just
Chinese
talking about it constantly. Can't break system, must social credit score. No, I mean, I think that this is a very it's a fine line, and I can see why a lot of conservative religious people are very concerned with this kind of thing, because it's like it has that doomsday feel to it, right? Where everything just gets propagated and sent down a cattle car system where everybody is the same, everybody thinks and eats and believes the same thing, and it all is determined by the government. I can see that, right? And I understand, and I'm always been a revolutionist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm against it no matter what, until it's something that I can get on board with. But I think it's a slippery slope to let those privacies start to be eaten away at. And again, we've already seen it in so many different ways, in social media, in society in general. The amount of CCTV and surveillance cameras, and you speed or go through a light and you get that ticket in the mail with your picture on it. Not your picture, but your car, the license plate, that whole thing. It's already it's already there. The system is there, and it's ready to kind of be developed further.
I mean,
and
it's
it
not
is
even the
scary.
CCTV stuff as much as it is. We have this sort of system almost in place today. Just the rewards and punishment are the social acknowledgments. I mean, like, you do something stupid, someone has filmed you with their camera and posted it online, and now everyone's making fun of you. Or you do something good and it's like, look at these 3 firemen that decided to have a tea party with this little girl, after her parents burned alive in their house or whatever.
Okay.
You
Wow.
know.
Morbid.
Then, and they get all this praise and stuff like that. So we have a system that just isn't monetary at this point. It's more
Right.
you get recognition or you get humiliated. That I don't feel like we're that far off from just sliding in the system to make it a little bit more monetary.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
And-
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, we're right there, and I think it's it's scary, and we're already. I mean, I am Lucha's too. We're already very close to the to Central America and just kind of living off the grid.
Mhm.
So if that happens, I mean, I'm all about buying an island.
Oh, bro, we're going to be freaking Malkovich. We're going building a house
But-
inside of an abandoned helicopter that's buried underground. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like we can just go buy an island, have our supplies. Like one of us will have to leave the island once a month to go for supplies. Maybe maybe we make it back.
we're
Maybe
wearing
we
like
don't.
a tinfoil jacket and hat so that way we're not tracked by any of the cameras.
I would like to visit you, but I said too many naughty words, so I can't get a plane
You
ticket.
can't travel. Josh can't get out of the country. We got to go back and smuggle them out.
Right.
This is already a science fiction novel waiting to happen. I'm
It's so
excited.
good. Yeah, we
But the
need to
general consensus, I think.
and make a movie out of it.
Oh right, yeah, a movie, book. I mean, and then we'll just buy into the system because we want everybody to buy our novel.
It'll be
We'll play the system.
a comedy action movie called Blacklisted.
Mhm.
Isn't there a show called Blacklist? Anyways, I think the general consensus is that we're very much against the privacy invasion that this kind of thing and rating, has in store. And before we kind of wrap things up, I did want to go around. And so if this was more of a peer rated system,
Mhm.
like we could give each other ticks up and down, right, based on our attitude, behavior, and based out of 5 stars. If our rating system was based out of 5 stars, where would you rate each one of us? Josh, you have to rate me, Luch, and Jake.
Mhm.
Go ahead, you're on the spot.
Yes. So starting at 1,000.
No. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Okay.
Not even 5 stars. It's a 5 points
Yes.
out of 5.
Anyway.
You're like an Uber rating.
I'm not going to use this system as dumb. So basically, Jack, you're very responsible. You are our dad. So like you get good responsibility points.
Okay.
You do get tilted. So you lose like a few points from that.
Okay.
But definitely good outweighs the bad with you, in my personal opinion. So
All right.
therefore, you would end up with 7 out of 5. Or
7 out of 5? Wait,
yes.
what?
Okay.
I have more points than 5?
Yeah. Maybe.
What?
I don't know. We're gonna go on to
Like,
the next. You did
For
good.
like a 4.9, a 4.8. What is it?
Oh my god. I'm telling you, this is why everyone would actually like this program. Because like, what's my fucking number?
Right.
Everyone has
Exactly.
to know what my number is. Oh my
Yeah.
god! And people shoving it down each other's throats. Oh,
Yeah. I'm a 4.96 on Uber, by the way, which is very, very high. So
it was pretty good.
Where-
Oh,
where am I at?
4.69. Okay. And
Okay, I'll
Jacob.
take it.
Jacob is
1.
no,
bro.
he's fairly good all around. Yeah. He's fairly tame. I would say that he would maybe lose half a point for being a hermit. I think yeah. So I'll give him a 4.5.
Wow, lower than me. Huh. Suck it, Jake.
I expected worse.
Yeah. But I was trying to think, like, I have no examples off the top of my head of anything that you should really lose a lot of points for.
So maybe okay. All right.
Yeah. Luch. Luch makes me laugh a lot, so he gets bonus points for that.
I like to think so.
Yes. His role play is fantastic. That makes me laugh a lot too. I like to laugh, so I give extra bonus points for that.
Dang, he's racking up the points,
Right?
Luch.
He is. Until we get to responding to messages.
Social ineptability.
Responding to messages, we're going to give him a 0 points in that category.
Okay.
So that's going to put him, I'd say, at the end of the day, though, I think if I needed Luch for something, he'd be there. So I'd give him a 4.
Okay.
Damn, I'm lowish.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Respond
So we got
to
a
message.
4.69, a 4, and a 4.5. All right, Luch. Now you got to rate the three of us.
I'm gonna do this based on like peer system and like actual judgment on like how the system I feel like it'll work out. So Jack,
Sure.
so you are a great guy and you are super responsible. You buy a lot of alcohol sometimes. a moderate amount of alcohol. All right.
What are you making me sound like? Oh my
Guys,
god.
he's not an alcoholic. All right. He's just borderline.
Jeez. Oh my god.
You take great care of your animals. You do awesome
Yeah.
care of that. You own a couple more cars than you need to. So you might be doing some sketchy shit on the side. We never know.
That's true. That's true.
You have a great social status as well as social media pages.
Okay.
So you're definitely not antisocial. You do get tilted and rage quite a bit, not just in gaming, but also in real life situations.
In real life, sure.
Yeah. Your driving temperament is less to be desired.
Okay. All right.
However, your ability to properly rate restaurants and bars is adequate. So I'm thinking a good in terms of social societyness. I'm thinking a good 3.8. You treat your friends better than you do actual regular people.
That's true. All right. 3.8.
All right.
All right.
Like in terms of like actual like society type seeing it. Jake, I don't know you as much to kind of grade you. However, but because you fit the human hive mind status of being a gem to all countries, I'm going to leave you at a nice spicy 4.5 just because you are helping out the societal hierarchy.
All right.
4.5.
4.5 for Jake. Jeez, it's really high.
All right, and Josh, Josh, I think you are a great dad. I think you do everything you can for your family and are trying to work your way up. Sometimes you do things that are beyond human comprehension.
Yes. 100%. On board. I second. The court seconds.
Which might put you in some danger sometimes.
The court seconds that.
Given the choice, if there's an alien in front of you, are you going to be the one that would defend yourself because you don't know if it's hostile, or walk up with open arms? And Josh, no matter what it looked like, would be the one to walk up with open arms and embrace its alien kind. You are a very hilarious individual and will think out of the box in almost every scenario. So I'm also going to give you a spicy 3.8.
Ooh, I like
Okay.
it.
Okay.
There's me.
All right. So we got. Just keep track of your scores here. All right. Now, Jake, go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess I was thinking, like, your average citizen would be a 3, right? So obviously you had a criminal record. If you're breaking all these social norms, you would be lower than a 3. And, having a stable job, paying taxes, helping out at the shelter, whatever is going to bump your score up. Like, to be a 1, I'm guessing you'd have to be like,
That's like blacklisted.
yeah, you're like a murderer. You're
Yeah.
right. And on the opposite, a 5 would be somebody who's jumping in front of bullets pulling children out of burning buildings.
Like The Rock.
You're Superman.
Yeah, so basically The Rock's a 5. And
Okay.
so I don't know you guys near as well as I do Josh, so I think you guys are above the average 3, as in you have jobs, you have relationships, you're a part of your community. So I would give a solid 4 to you guys, and then to Josh 4.2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Friend, you cannot bring family into this, my man. You see that?
Okay.
That's
All right,
why.
so-
That's why people who are onlookers have to have no families or friends. They are solely government employees, and that's it.
Okay. So keep track of your scores here, because we're gonna average them up. So we should all have what, 3 total scores?
Yep.
I didn't rate myself.
No, you're not. You don't get to rate yourself.
You
Or
have
maybe we can
3.
rate it.
The rest of us have 2.
Right, because I'm about to rate you all, and then you'll have 3.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll all have 3, and then we can do the average, and we'll see where we really stand. Okay, so down the list, starting with Josh. Josh, you are one of the best, good-hearted, kind people person that I have ever met. However, you have some bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
right? Despite quitting some of them, your past still comes back up, right? It still plays a part into the rating. However, I would give you at least, I would say probably a 4.71 actually, because of your home life, dad life, general good person, willingness to do whatever for anybody, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, always being
But he
positive.
curses a lot, Jack.
That's
I
why
don't
he's
know.
not a 5.
Ooh.
That's the only thing holding him back.
Well, that and the drinking and smoking and drugs
That's a 0.3.
and sex with prostitutes.
I feel like lifelong friendship has clouded your judgment, Jack.
I don't know. This is my time to rate. Okay, this is friendship rating. Luch, you're a 2.1 because you're always questioning me.
That's
Just
only
kidding. I'm just kidding. Luch, you're very good-hearted. You're always willing to do things for other people. You always have people's best interest in mind, and you always care about other people's feelings, sometimes too much. However, you're very, very poor with your social status. You're not very social. You do not pay attention to messages and respond to your friends. So 4.2
I
for
totally
you.
thought it was going to end with Luch, you're so poor.
Luch, you're also poor. You can't buy a house. Now I'm just going personal here. Okay. 4.2 for Luch. Jake, we disagree on a lot of things. However, you are a very genuine person. You're Josh's brother, so you get extra bonus points because you've had to put up with him your entire life. So that just gives you kind of like a multiplier on your status. Bonus level points, as you will. So I'm going to give you also a solid 4.21.
Of course. Make me the least rated.
All right. So now take all 3 of your scores and get the average. Okay. What'd you rate me, Luch? Was a 3.69?
No, 3.8.
3.8. That's right.
You were a
Okay.
4.69 for me.
You said I was
Yeah, that's right.
4.99, right?
2-1. Yes. All right.
I'm a 4.1.
Okay. All right. Well, Josh, where are you?
I'm a 4.23666.
Hey, Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I'm a 4.3016, repeating, of course.
Okay, so Jake is the highest rated social credit score member here at a rating of 4.30, correct? Or is it round up to 4.31?
Yeah, it is 4.3.
4.3. Josh with a 4.23. Myself with a 4.16. And Luch with a 4.1. So now we just did a fake literally a fake made up credit system. How do you feel? Doesn't feel good, does it?
I mean, I like the comments.
Yeah.
I tried.
Josh is like, I feel pretty good right now, actually.
Do you?
I just mean, what I mean by that is like, it actually, like, while we're doing it, it's made up and it doesn't matter. But like, you're like, wait, why am I not a 5? Why am I not a 4.8? Like, what? Why did I get a 3.8?
Oh my god!
A lower score if I gave you a lower score?
Would I have given? No, see, I don't know. Maybe, but that goes into
Jack,
it, right?
Yeah, Jack, I'm sorry. Can you please deduct a point for put me at a 2.8 for you? I forgot that you threaten moms and children on the side of the road.
Well, that the jury is already in, and I'm sorry, my score is down. It's been recorded. Anyways, I think that's it's very interesting. It's interesting in concept because right there, obviously, this doesn't matter. It's made up, but like I can already tell that if that was a thing, people would be so obsessed with their number, right? They'd be so obsessed with how to get it higher and comparing, and who's is higher than whose.
Profile picture would be the number,
and it's the whole Black Mirror episode. That's all it is, and that's why it was so kind of just creepy and eerie. But anyways, that's going to wrap up level 45. What an interesting topic. For anybody listening, let us know how you feel about the social credit system in the comments. Send us an email, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter, whatever it might be. Big thank you to Jake for joining, Mr. 4.3 himself.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're welcome anytime. Even though we disagree, you always have great commentary and insight. So definitely appreciate it. For everybody else, thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Later, taters.
Bye, guys.